And how do I know if it's recording? Okay, there we go.
Sound like
Right.
me.
Okay.
Please fix this.
Thank
for
you.
me.
Okay, so as a new leader on our campus, what are some ways that you build trust with the teachers using the TTESS process?
I feel like to invest into the TTESS process, you have to let teachers know that TTESS is built to grow and to always have something to grow for. So if a teacher feels like they're only seeking the highest ranking on every sort of domain and dimension, then that mindset needs to shift from being fixed to being growth, where I'm always trying to grow. So we have to talk to our staff about what that looks like. You know, what does it mean to grow, and talk about the word proficiency, which, you know, being proficient in T-test model versus proficient in PDOS are different, but the law states a teacher must be proficient. So that is why we call it rock solid. We wanted to change, like when we learned T-test, we thought, could we just not call it proficient? But because it's based on what the law requires a teacher to be, that wording is definitely not going anywhere. So just to get their mindset to understand that we're all here to grow, we're going to, you know, plan together, and we're going to observe together, and you're going to be included in the process rather than PDOS where it's a snapshot. Here you go, this is what you have, and you could have a whole growth plan based on one observation.
Yeah.
So we want to let teachers know that it's not about me trying to see your dog and pony show. If you want to give the dog and pony lesson, that's fine, but understand that throughout walkthroughs and other observations and self-reflections and things like that, that will support every lesson that you give, not just that 45-minute snapshot.
Right. And so in order to create buy-in to this new system that some teachers are not used to, I feel like it's an advantage for you kind of that we have so many new teachers in this sense that they haven't they have nothing to base it on.
Yeah.
So for the teachers who have done PDOS and are maybe struggling with proficient being where they should be, how do you create that buy-in? What are some things you do?
Well, some things that I want to do, and I'll be honest, on this campus, the discipline not being in place is preventing me from doing what I want to do. But ideally, and I will do it, I'm going to do it, but ideally what it would look like is really investing in those pre-conferences. I would have liked, I know we did a fairly nice job of meeting together to provide goal setting options and ideas and time to talk about it. And so I like that group setting. I also would have liked, you know, a little, goal setting meeting with each individual teacher, but I'm going to grab all of those at the end of your conference. So what I want them, I want the goal setting to actually have meaning, and I like to know goals. I like to look at my teachers and go, oh, but you already have this goal of this and this. Like, I memorize them so I know what to help them with. But that pre-conference meeting, that 45 minutes where you're really planning and you're not just going through paperwork, you're really looking at the lesson, you're really talking about, hey, when you see this guy do this in my class, it's because he has this, and I'm going to do it like this. And then after, when we do our post-conference, you can bring work samples and things like that. I think that investment in the pre-conference and the post-conference really help a teacher feel like you're invested into what they're doing.
Yeah.
So doing those meetings, even though they're required, but and this word is kind of like the word rigor being overused, but doing it with fidelity really will help that teacher feel like she really cares about what I'm teaching, and she knows what might help, or she has ideas, or she understands why this kid didn't do this in the lesson because I told her that wouldn't happen, or why this station is like this. And you get more than just I'm just documenting a 45-minute what I see in PDOS, and that's just what I saw. You actually get to share with behind what the scenes are, so you can include that in the documentation of the actual what you put in on the evaluation for the teacher, so they can actually have something on them that means something, and it's not just a scripted what you see for 45 minutes with I can't tell you anything else but what I saw,
Right.
So I like to it's both of us together.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is just invest that time, and and I don't do gotchas. So if I see something that needs improvement, we work on what we can do to improve it, and we do a bunch of walkthroughs to grab what we see so that we can, at the end of your conference, have a more proficient type of rating.
Yeah. So what would you say the biggest challenge is with the TTESS evaluation process?
What it has been and what it is time.
Yeah.
If I really want to give each teacher, which 15 minutes at the beginning of the year for goal setting, 30 minutes at the end for end of year, 45-minute pre-conference, 45-minute post-conference, 45-minute observation. I need to do that, but it will be time. And so that will be the domino effect of whenever my role as a disciplinarian isn't functioning how it should, it will affect me being in classrooms. So time, but even at other schools where I've done TTESS, it's time.
Yeah.
No matter what.
So what are some things that you're doing now to help gain more time? Not that that's I mean, is there anything that you are doing or looking toward as a plan to?
Well, I'm always growing too. So I have to know that I'm not where I need to be. And I know that I can get there. So I really need to stay organized. I need to keep lists. I need to secure time. Like I have a do not disturb sign on our door, and I see people still looking and trying to go, does that mean, it means you.
Yeah.
So really just not to push people off, but to protect and have an organized day where I'm just not at the mercy of everybody else. I'm trying to just stay organized. So for me, I try to plan my day. I try to plan my discipline and try to finish it before I go home. And learning this new district in school and implementing processes has been a major, needs improvement for me.
Yeah. And
the school needs improvement, but it's still my role to do it. So if I was on, TTESS or whatever for a principal I would expect that I would have some needs improvement, but I won't take it personally. So, my thing is just really organizing my time and having people understand how to handle some things in-house or send it in an email or not always come and talk, like students, ask 3 before me or something like that. So it's just really, we have to all learn each other, and I don't want to come out too available or too unavailable.
Yeah.
So I'm still balancing right now. So right now it's just a balance act.
So what do you see as the biggest benefit of the TTESS system?
I just think it gives a really good picture, and it's hard for a PDOS person because there have been some instances in other years where they have cried, refused to sign their observation, refused to accept that what's been working for 25 years may not always be working. And so
so how did you handle that?
That's handled through real observation and just not personal comments, but facts of what I've seen and what I've caught through walkthroughs. So when something has happened, like that specific teacher, she was just kind of done. She didn't know the kids' names. She wasn't doing lesson planning. She was copying lessons. She was just going through the motions thinking it would work because it's always worked. But those kids were suffering. So behind her was the calls to the office for help, the discipline, the students cheating on STAR test in her room, just the non-monitoring and the non-planning and the culture of the classroom in disarray. We would go in there and model. We would have a 20-minute advisory period, which was like your morning community time.
Right.
We would go in there and do advisory with her. We would model for her. We would put coaches in there at certain hard class periods that she had. It was a junior high. So the difficult class periods, we put somebody in there with her. So we tried to offer her help, and we documented it through walkthroughs and things like that. But she was in, her mindset was, I've done this for so long, nobody's going to tell me different. So she did end up leaving, and that was tough. But the benefit of TTESS is you all have to meet a proficient standard or try to or accept the criticism,
Right.
and build your refining attributes, or else you're not really a functional part of this team. And I think one of the benefits was it let herself out. I didn't put her on a growth plan, I may have written her up one time for some, disclosing some confidential information to like something totally irrelevant, but it was relevant to the culture.
Yeah.
So I think it helps teachers kind of self-reflect, like maybe I should not be doing this, or maybe I need to step it up, or I'm doing this great, maybe I should share this with others.
Yeah.
So it's a better evaluation tool for you and me, for all of us to kind of know where each other stands.
Right, which leads us really naturally into the next question, which is, what process does this campus use to assist teachers who are in need of professional growth? So what process do we have?
I would answer this differently a year from now. But right now, new to this district, new to this campus, and it's in year 2 of needing improvement. Mm-hmm. So I can't go in and be hard on my new teachers who are struggling as I'm struggling with running this school right now. Mm-hmm. So it's going to have to be a level of tolerance to basically kind of let everybody know we're probably all going to start at a level below where we feel we are. Mm-hmm. But repeat the question though, because I feel like I missed it.
So what processes does this campus use to assist teachers in need of professional growth?
Okay, so right now the TTESS model is not being used formally. Ms. Royal, the principal, and I are trained on TTESS and know what the domains are and know what's required. We know that planning piece is humongous, and also the delivery of the planning, the instructional part.
Right.
And the classroom, there's all 3 domains, the 4th domain, yes, but all 3 domains, that culture and the planning and the instructional delivery, they're all in high need. So to support that, we're really starting with the culture. We're really, trying to get that discipline in place. So this campus is trying to settle some things and make some consistent decisions before we come in and observe and expect teachers to be where we're still not sure if they're aware of our expectations,
Yeah.
And it's frustrating just because we're starting in November and we're very behind. But certain things, like, to be honest, this district doesn't have a walkthrough template in the Eduphoria program where we would enter walkthroughs. We are supposed to just email them to ourselves until we figure out how to share them with you or scan them to you. So you don't even get to see what domains and what dimensions were observed. I mean, I would put them in there because I know what they are, but it won't be consistent throughout each school and each district. So again, without an overlying, we weren't even trained on TTESS, and I know this is being recorded, but I'm just being honest. Mm-hmm. I have training from my prior district, and so does the principal. We have never heard the word TTESS from anybody else above us, and how to, or what expectations. So her and I are just doing what we know how to do and what we've been trained to do from this other districts. Yeah. So processes are being formed, but a year from now it'll be different.
Yeah. So what things, you said you were focusing on the culture right now, which I believe that the others will fall behind that. So are there things being done to professionally grow teachers in the area of culture, and what are those things?
Well, we're a PBIS district, so in order to really receive that grant to be a PBIS district, we actually have to practice it. I believe we were practicing it with or without this grant, whatever the grant may be. But it really is trying to have a lot of these behaviors tolerated and handled like you do in your classroom, in the classroom, so that kids can stay in the classroom. We don't need to be sending kids out for some things that can be addressed later, or can be addressed by the teacher, or can be handled with a parent phone call.
Right.
So I think one of the big things about the PBIS is trying to help teachers feel confident to run their classroom, and that they have the ability to. And with so many new teachers, as you know, they don't believe in themselves. They're struggling every day